This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. If you want to play in the automotive industry, you better get ready to play hardball. It's a hyper-competitive, cutthroat business that can chew you up and spit you out before you even know what's happening. And that has been a rude awakening for a lot of EV startups. While everyone is focusing on how Tesla's stock price fell 67% from its peak last year, Rivian and Lucid are down even more. Bloomberg reports they're down nearly 90% from their IPO prices, which has triggered a massive drop in their market cap. At one point, Rivian was worth $153 billion. Now that's down to only $14.5 billion. Lucid was worth $91 billion. Now it's at $13.7 billion. And it doesn't look like this is going to turn around anytime soon. Reuters reports that the money Rivian and Lucid get for selling their vehicles is less than the money they're spending on materials and labor to make those vehicles. And it's a big gap. Rivian's cost of goods sold, or COGS, is 2.7 times higher than its revenue. Lucid's COGS is 2.5 times higher. So they either need to figure out how to cut costs, or they have to raise prices, or they got to do both. But with Tesla kicking off a price war, now they're really caught between a rock and a hard place. Meanwhile, Proterra, the electric bus company, is going the cost-cutting route. It's closing its assembly plant in California and moving everything to its plant in South Carolina. That will eliminate about 300 jobs and cut the company's logistics and manufacturing costs. So welcome to the auto industry, folks. It ain't an easy business.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Alpine, which is part of Renault, is revving up its engine. Group CEO Luca De Meo wants Alpine sales to generate 8 billion euros by 2030, which means it will have to sell roughly 150,000 vehicles a year. However, last year, Alpine only sold about 3,500. But it only sells one model right now, the A110. So Alpine is going to expand the lineup. That includes a reborn version of the Renault 5 in the second half of 2024, followed by a small SUV in 2025. Those models are expected to boost sales to roughly 35,000 units by the time they launch. But to reach that 150,000 number, Alpine says it needs to get into the US market. To appeal to Americans, it will launch 2 new electric SUVs, which will be roughly the size of a Porsche Macan and Cayenne. Will Alpine tap into a partnership it has with Lotus, or dip into the Renault-Nissan-Mitsubishi alliance for these vehicles? That's still unclear. It's under consideration, but the US models aren't scheduled to launch until at least 2027 or 2028. Rental car company Hertz has deals to buy EVs from Tesla, Polestar, and GM, and now it's starting to deploy that all-electric fleet. It's launching a new initiative in Denver, Colorado called Hertz Electrifies that's all about supporting EV adoption. Hertz will bring up to 5,200 EVs to its locations around Denver for both private and ride-sharing customers to rent, as well as partner with BP Pulse to expand the charging network in the area. And Denver is just the start. It also plans to launch Hertz Electrifies in other American cities, but it didn't say when. Good news for Mercedes factory workers in Germany. The company is giving them a profit-sharing bonus of up to 7,300 euros thanks to its strong financial performance in 2022. Around 93,000 eligible employees get the highest bonus the company has ever given out since it started the profit-sharing program in 1997. Chinese automaker NIO just lost a legal battle with Audi in Europe over the names of its vehicles. Last year, Audi filed a trademark lawsuit in Germany claiming NIO's ES6 and ES8 names are too similar to its S6 and S8, and the court agreed with Audi. It ordered NIO to stop using and advertising those names. The judge said the names could cause confusion with consumers who might think that the E in the names means it's an electric version of the Audis. NIO denies the infringement and says consumers won't be confused since the Audis are sedans and its vehicles are crossovers. But either way, NIO is going to rename the ES6 and ES8 in Europe to the EL6 and EL8. But in China, it's a different story. It's going to keep using those names there.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility, manufacturing smarter, reducing CO2 emissions, making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
Can you believe it? The Renault Twingo is turning 30! And to mark the special occasion, Renault is holding a design contest. But this is not your normal design contest. Instead, it's asking participants to use AI image generators to come up with their own unique version of the Twingo. If you've never used one of these AI generators, they're pretty cool. You can type in something like polar bear ice skating on the moon, and then it will generate a series of pictures of just that. And Renault expects some pretty wild designs. It says in flight, underwater, in space, made of chocolate. The possibilities are endless. And it's going to choose a winner and turn that design into a real-life show car. You want to try your hand at this? We've got a link in today's transcript or description box. Honda is going to the moon. Seriously. It signed an R&D contract with Japan's aerospace agency to develop a circulative renewable energy system. Specifically, Honda is working to combine a water electrolysis system with a fuel cell so it can continuously produce oxygen, hydrogen, and electricity as long as it has access to sunlight and water. And this could be used for the Artemis program, which will put people on the moon for extended exploration. Bridgestone claims it developed the world's first custom-engineered all-terrain tire with run-flat technology. It's the official tire of the off-road version of the Lamborghini Huracan called the Sturato, which features a V10 engine, all-wheel drive, and a raised suspension. Bridgestone calls the tire the Dueler All-Terrain AT002 and says it uses a new rubber compound with bespoke polymers that's designed to optimize grip while also providing the best possible handling and high-speed performance. It also features a specific shoulder pattern that provides additional grip in deep gravel and mud, and it can safely travel 50 miles at 50 miles an hour with a puncture. I've got to imagine that's a strong selling point for any off-roader, so hopefully this technology can be applied to other tires as well. But that brings us to the end of today's show and this week. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And by Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.